Hi, Alex from New York again. I wanted to call and, congratulate all you guys. You're doing a great job. I want to talk some more about socialism now that it's not the end of the show. Maybe there's a little more time.
Ooh.
Yeah, I watched this podcast of two comedians, one of whom is a self-described anarchist libertarian. It was 8 hours, and I watched the whole thing. And there was a lot.
Did you watch the whole thing in one? I got to ask. Did you watch the whole thing in one sitting?
I did. Yeah. Well, I'm playing video games as I was listening.
Oh, okay.
Oh, hell yeah.
The Matt Lex style, we call that around here.
Oh yeah. I mean, don't get me started on video games, man. But so I'm watching this thing, and it's a roller coaster. There's a lot of stuff where I'm like, I don't know if I agree with that. There's some stuff where I'm surprised myself, that kind of makes sense. And there's some stuff where I'm like, that's evil or cruel even, and I don't like that at all. But what was interesting was every time he would wrap up a point or get to the heart of where he was coming from, it was almost word for word stuff I've heard on this show, on the Useful Idiot show with Katie Halper and Matt Taibbi, on No Miki, just get rid of the militarization of the police, get rid of corporate money in politics, get rid of just stuff that I'm like, why aren't you working together? I don't get it. I was just so surprised because everything I know about libertarianism just seems to come from a place of selfishness of I'm doing fine right now, so leave me alone. And
that's literally that's like the Cliff Notes there, libertarianism, Cliff Notes.
Yeah, that's the problem with the military stuff is for instance, Tulsi Gabbard, people think why can't you just work with her on the military stuff? It's because she's not really anti-military. She just thinks we're putting the money in the wrong places. She wants to invest wisely. And I think that's libertarians. I think they're just upset about the tax bill, fundamentally. And occasionally having other countries impinge on their consciousness, which is like Megan McArdle, for instance, talking about how is our voting embarrassing here when we have these lines? How can we really know? We don't know the trade-offs. It's we know what other countries are doing, Megan, and they're holding votes successfully.
Right.
And so I don't know, are they really, if they're anti-corporate, that's
it was very strange to just hear. I would perk up and pause the game that I was playing and be like, what did he just say?
Yeah.
Because that's stuff I've heard on, these liberal shows that I watch daily now.
What particularly libertarian did they say, though? What was the heinous things?
I mean, the heinous things.
Age of consent.
Well, we support
the usual,
No, it was more no, we got to shut down these riots. Sending in the military is a good idea, but this kind of stuff.
But they just said that
so libertarian, so liberty and freedom.
That's the thing. How do you don't like the military budget, but you want to use the military to shut down riots? Fundamentally, and this is why
I know.
My tack is different than Sam's, which is where in your philosophy, your libertarian philosophy, do you allow voting, and what can people change with voting? And how votes weighed, because fundamentally that's what's always going to be the rub, because it's really just the motivated reasoning of oligarchy expressed by Marx. That's what libertarianism is, by people who aren't billionaires or millionaires, and it's a self-help thing. I don't know.
Well, also, if you want to talk about freedom and liberty, the primary thing oppressing most people is not the state, although the state is oppressive. Mm-hmm. It's your boss. And any system that doesn't have a way to deal with that is not very liberty-centered to me.
Yep.
It's interesting too that they went they were discussing the military, because usually these guys are we should have militia groups. We should, the Boogaloo Boys should go on in there. All right, yeah. Well,
What podcast was
he's a
it?
comedian, so he might
Call
have
him out.
some what?
What
Yeah, what's the
podcast
name?
was it?
Ari Shafir's podcast.
Ari
His
Shaffir.
Oh,
the guy
okay.
who was talking. No. Ari Shafir's podcast. The guy he brought on to talk with was a guy named Dave Smith from the Legion of Skanks show.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I know who you're talking
Oh,
about.
I've heard of
Those
that.
people are
Yes.
bad.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're misunderstood. I mean, some of them are bad. I will agree.
There's a lot
I
of
like the
alt-right
show 'cause I
crossover
like one of
there.
the comics on there a lot. There was one guy who I watch anything he's on, Big J, but if he's not on, I'm not watching it. Because it gets a little too cruel for me.
I mean,
I'm like, are you really serious about this or not?
Yeah, I've enjoyed
It's hard
stuff
to
Ari
tell where
Shafir has done. I don't Legion of Skanks hasn't really interested me for kind of these political reasons of what I've just heard about that. So like that doesn't really surprise me a whole lot.
Yeah.
Like I mean,
understand.
that's a different. I mean,
it's hard for me to watch it.
I think some of that stuff is like the question is why aren't people like that working with us? It's not why aren't we working with them? And I kind of think often,
yeah,
like I think there's a bit of reactionary stuff in there that like,
but it's also like they're coming from the place of like, don't tell me what to say at the core of everything. So maybe that's where he's going libertarian.
Don't tell me
don't
what
know.
to say, but somebody stop those
They don't wanna-
protesters
they
from
don't
hitting
wanna-
the streets.
yeah.
Right. Yeah. It's a total contradiction. But, they're friends with the guy who was kicked off of SNL before he even got a chance to be on it.
Uh-huh.
So they're coming from like, fuck everybody. Sorry.
Yeah. I mean,
they're
I
coming
get
from,
that.
Screw everyone on that side.
Right. I mean, look, I hold some of that in my own heart, but I'll be honest, like in terms of being political allies at a certain level, you need to reach a level of maturity about certain things.
Yeah.
And like, I think fundamentally,
And they are
like,
far from it.
yeah, you need to grow up. I mean, 8 hours and you're talking about, we agree you need to stop military spending, but by the way, like, let's deploy the military domestically to quash protest that is clearly caused by serious issues in this country. Like when you really could just be supportive of Medicare for all. That is a hang up. That's a reactionary hang up that they have.
Yeah.
That you'd rather put that into military than medical.
No, I agree.
And a lot of libertarians are just Republicans, especially now. There's like a real libertarian to alt-right pipeline. There are very few quote unquote pure libertarians left. I actually saw the other day a t-shirt that someone made that was like pro-life libertarians. Libertarians against abortion, and it said underneath it, abortion is aggression.
Well, there was a whole mutiny a few months back because the Libertarian Party presidential candidate Jorgensen, she had the nerve, the audacity to tweet out Black Lives Matter, and the libertarians who I guess were going to vote for her, that's what they said, turned and said, this is horrible. How can you do this? How can you stab us in the back? This is not very libertarian of you. We're voting for Trump now. I mean, this is really what it's about. Here you have someone who ostensibly, Jorgensen, would basically represent them better than Trump. And, these guys are not, some of these hardcore libertarians would actually not usually probably vote for a Republican candidate because the Libertarian Party usually does the best of the third parties in presidential elections. And because she tweeted out Black Lives Matter, their reactionary, reaction to it was to basically shoot themselves in the foot and say, screw the Libertarian Party. I'm out. Trump all the way.
Yeah. I mean, that's why I was interested in watching that podcast in the first place, because look, I value comedy a lot. Because before 2012, I got all my news from stand-up comedy, SNL, and South Park, and that's it. I didn't watch the news at all. That's how I know my history of what was happening before, I started watching the news. But so to get this person's perspective, who has friends who have been disenfranchised by these systems, to still be about libertarianism at all just confused me, and I wanted to know where he was coming from. And I think he did an all right job of explaining where he was coming from, even though I might disagree with a lot of it. I was like, the points that he was getting at was like, that's crazy that I've heard it from your mouth and from, the Sam Seder show, Nomiki and all that. It was just fascinating. And I want to say thank you for the call. I know I'm going long. I want to say one last thing. I bought an American flag on Amazon because that's the most American way to do that. Because I don't like the fact that the right wing, especially the crazies, are trying to take that as theirs. I hate it. I like where I live in New York. I like America for all its warts and problems. It's the home team. I want to root for the home team. I don't want that flag to become a new Confederate flag.
I don't know if you have to worry about that.
Like
They've kind of blown right past that to the Blue Lives Matter flag.
Exactly. That's what I was saying.
I mean, Trump at a rally a few days ago wasn't even flying the American flag behind him. It was a giant Blue Lives Matter thin blue line flag. They're not even pretending anymore. Yeah, to them, of course, kneeling during the anthem, huge disrespect to America. Literally taking the flag and changing it to
making it about cops.
Yeah, is very patriotic. Very patriotic.
To be fair, it's already about cops, and to a lot of people, it's already a fascist symbol. And I don't think that the left can really do much to reappropriate that. Sorry, hate to be a wet blanket.
I think take that flag and take the flag and turn it upside down.
We're wearing flags. I'm sorry.
I think the left
turn the flag upside down.
I think the left should do their own type of take on the flag, or just take the flag because they're giving up the Blue Lives thing. Because I mean, look, I understand what Jamie's saying, but I also think there's a lot of people who in terms of retaking a lot of these things, a lot of American mythology, frankly, and who's really American and what really who are the heroes in this country, lining up say John Brown behind the American flag as opposed to say Andrew Jackson. I would prefer one over the other personally, right? It's a project, and I say Godspeed to you if you want to start doing it on your own. Maybe you can have a better conversation with some of those podcasters underneath.
I like that meme that I saw online during the Black Lives Matter protests over the summer, where someone took the thin blue line flag and basically said it's a DIY pride flag. It's color your own DIY pride flag, and they just colored in the other white parts and the other colors of the LGBTQ. Yeah. So great call though. Thanks a lot for calling. Have a great day.
Hey, you too, man. And the whole crew, Jamie, everybody, Matt, thank you so much. Take care.
Man.